Thanks to Shortform for sponsoring this video. Hey everyone, my name is Shui. In this video, I want to talk about 4 simple tricks to help you read 10 times more books and articles. Reading is very important for your life. As Newport says, reading is cognitive equivalent of eating well. It is a training for your brain to concentrate, which is why you should read as much as you can. However, reading every day consistently can be difficult. There are 4 tricks I learned from successful people who read every single day that actually helped me read more. Many people use a reading list as a place to save items to read them later. If you use an iPhone, there is a built-in reading list feature in Safari, but other people use apps like Pocket and Instapaper. Reading list is a great and works well for some people, but it didn't help me read more. In fact, I hated having reading lists because the list kept getting bigger and it didn't make me feel like I wanted to read them. Also, maybe just me, but it took so much time for me to just pick which ones to read from the list. 5 or even 10 minutes passed by before I even started reading because I was taking so long to choose which articles to read. This is just a waste of time and your mental energy too. A solution I learned for this problem is to replace my reading list with a to-do list. When you find an article or video you want to save to read later, save it to your to-do list. I think almost everybody uses some kind of to-do app. Whichever you use, there should be an option to save an item on the web to your to-do app. For this video, I'm going to use the default reminder app on iPhone. The items you saved will appear on your list. The important trick here is to schedule a time you want to read them for each item. For instance, I want to read this article at tomorrow 8 AM. By scheduling each item to a specific time, you can save the time and mental energy for choosing which ones to read from reading list. Also, it feels nice to cross that checkbox when you finish reading it. You can use any to-do app or reminder app for this, but in my case, I use Ample Notes for my task managing. So I save items I want to read later to the app, then I schedule a time for each item in the calendar. One tip I found useful when scheduling is that you might want to put the reading time early in the morning when you have the most willpower. I used to schedule reading time just before bed, but by that time I already run out of my willpower and just want to watch Netflix or read fictions instead of reading things that require concentration and thinking. But if I schedule a reading time in the morning, it's 10 times more likely to actually read them. The second tip I want to share is something I learned from Chris Dixon. That is, think of chapters in books like blog posts. Reading a blog post doesn't seem so daunting because each one is relatively short enough for you to read in 5 or 10 minutes. But when it comes to a book, it suddenly seems so daunting and makes you hesitate to even pick it up and start reading. So we should treat a book like a collection of blog posts. Each chapter is one blog post, that way it makes it look much less intimidating. You can combine this strategy with the first tip. What I often do is whenever I get a new book, I have a look at the table of content and pick ones that are interesting and put them in my to-do list and schedule them into my calendar. In my experience, this strategy works really well to increase the chance of reading books consistently. One of our biggest enemies when reading a book is the fear of missing out because it makes us insist on reading every book until the last page, even if we are not enjoying it. I don't know where we get this fear from, but it definitely prevents us from reading more books. I think there are only a handful of books that can change your life, and most books will not. For me, one of my goals is to find those books that will. In order to do that, you need to try to read as many books as possible, but if you insist on reading every book from cover to cover, you're just going to get stuck and eventually you will hate reading because it becomes like a chore. My favorite writer Morgan Housel says, to increase the chance of finding the books that can change your life, you need lots of input and a strong filter. Lots of input simply mean reading as many books as possible, but with a strong filter. It means if you're not enjoying the book you're reading, you should just close it and move on to the next one. He says this process is kind of like going on a first date. If you go on a first date and didn't really like that person, you probably wouldn't go to the second date. Similarly, if you don't like the first chapter of a book, you don't have to feel obliged to keep on reading. Personally, this metaphor helped me a lot to fight my fear of missing out. If I'm not enjoying it, I can just shut it and start reading another one. Finally, one of the best ways to learn new ideas in under 20 minutes every single day is to read a book summary. I've tried many book summary apps, but by far the best one for me is Shortform, because it doesn't just give you summaries of books, but also an analysis of books and articles too. What I love about Shortform is their book summaries are super detailed, so it's easy to understand the book's key points at a deep level. Also, in each summary, they have smart insight, which connects the ideas in the book with ideas in other books. For example, in this summary of The Anatomy of Peace, which is one of the books I wanted to read, they have a lot of short form notes where they talk about relevant ideas from different authors. This kind of deep level analysis is what makes short form so special. Linking ideas like this is really the basic of efficient learning, and short form makes it much easier for us to do that. Also, connecting ideas is one of the principles of the Zerokasten note-taking method. Anyway, I usually allocate the first 1 hour of day for reading. I go through the blog post I saved first, and then pick one book from Shortform. In just 20 minutes, you get to learn new things and how they are connected to other ideas. If you want to try Shortform, go to shortform.com/Shiomi for a 5-day free trial. I also put a link in the description so you can get your account instantly. Alright, so that was my tips for reading more books and articles. I hope you found something useful. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!